G'day crew, welcome to Goat Fantasy. It's the Round 9 Rage Trades edition. Oh, we love fantasy football. Goat Fantasy Podcast is brought to you by checkmyrates.au. Visit the website, it's free to use. Take control of your financial future. Brandon, the team, will help you get a better home loan rates. Goat Fantasy Podcast, Drew Jones, your host. Nice to be with you for another week. So round 9 on the horizon. And our Rage Trades podcast comes after a fairly tough weekend, I reckon, across the board. Not a huge amount of really high scores. If you made it through and still posted a reasonable score, well done to you. And for those of us who are withering away out in the nether regions of the rankings, we continue to do our very best and put in a shift. The good news for me and some of the other tortured fantasy coaches out there is that Jai Caldwell hopefully will be out of our sides for good. He picked up an ankle injury against Brisbane. Speaking to the club today, they actually say he's a test and potentially could be available for the clash this weekend against, I think it's GWS. I say that in a very low tone because I'm hoping it doesn't come true. I would never wish an injury upon someone, but I just feel like I want to see the back of Jai Caldwell, and this feels like the week to do it. There's plenty of others who we'd love to get rid of and put a bullet in this week, and I feel like maybe it's just because I want to get rid of Caldwell and this is the best move for me, but Hugh McCluggage feels like one of our big trade targets for the week. Very affordable in Supercoach as well as Fantasy, of course. Injured earlier in the season, did his groin, I think, from memory, and it's been a slow acclimatization period to coming back to playing higher time on ground. So for the first time, I think he tipped over 70% in that game against Essendon, and then it's going to be hopefully strength to strength for McCluggage from here, and he has Carlton, which should be a nice matchup for him on Friday night in Geelong the week after that. So we're ticking off a McCluggage move this week as a budget premium, and he ticks a lot of those boxes. Clearly he's got a lot of upside. Feels like the arrow is pointing up. Scores 109 last week. So if that's where you can get to this week, I think that's a solid move. And part of the reason why perhaps we won't have as much cash to play with is because the rookie that we're bringing in, if you haven't already, in Sam Cumming, is a little bit more expensive. I think we've seen everything we need to see in terms of the quality that he's going to bring to the table. So if you weren't able to get in the last couple of weeks, if you're a rookie behind, then Cummings your guy this week, but you probably won't make as much cash out of it as you would like. But he is a really good option from a rookie perspective. And then guys that we're looking upwards at. Who do we want this week? So Callaghan, even 100 against Gold Coast. He's at a nice price after a couple of poor weeks. He's got a good buy, and that's part of the reason why Finn is on our shopping list. He's next to Essendon and West Coast. So he does have a nice draw coming up. And then, of course, the round 13 bye will mean that you'll be able to play him through those hard weeks and hopefully be getting reasonable scores from the flying Finn Callaghan. And I guess, we've talked about these guys before. Whitfield and Ash fall into that category as well. They're proven scorers. They have a good buy. If you're looking for an upgrade in defence this week, I think it's a nice move ahead of a couple of good matchups. Kazai Pickett has West Coast coming up this weekend. So if you need to go for an upgrade in your forward line, it feels like he's the way to go. And I think he's shown the last few weeks is that he is going to get tagged, but he still has the ability to... He doesn't get tagged totally out of the game. He still makes an impact. And that's what makes him a good buy. Petrarca, bad buy, but a necessary purchase. If you get my drift here, because he is going to be one of the best players in the forward line this season. Saints and Port Adelaide for his next two for Gold Coast, both up in Darwin. If you need a reason not to buy him, I think the early buy and then the fact that they're playing up north where it can be a bit slippery and a bit gross and scoring becomes a bit more unpredictable. I mean, that would be potentially a reason to put him on the back burner until after his bye. Dane Zorko was a sick man against against Essendon on Saturday. He's got that low score of 28 baked into his price, so he's going to be value for a little while. He maybe hasn't quite bottomed out yet, but getting close to that. But yeah, he hasn't missed a beat on his return. And yeah, he's going to be a top 6 defender, you would think, for the year. So it's getting to a point soon where we'll need to think about getting in Dane Zorko. And then just from a Supercoach perspective, I think we get shown time and again, Grundy, great score, Luke Jackson, good score, Tristan Sherry, dominant. If you're thinking about having 3 premium ruckmen, if you're still rolling with Lockie McAndrew, I still think it's a solid move to go to 3 primos and use 1 in utility. It also means that, if Grundy or Gawn need a rest anytime soon, you've got another premium you can just flick into that spot and hopefully a rook that can do the job in the utility. So there is hopefully a little bit of, if you've got Zach Ostelski or Steen or whatever, you've got a bit of flexibility and you can make that all work. But yeah, I think 3 premium rucks is a nice move in Supercoach because they are scoring so bloody well in that format of the game. So the rookies we're looking at from a Supercoach perspective, I think it's a few on the bubble. So Liam Henry got 88, I think it was, for the Saints, and is going to be pretty cheap. You could find a way to get him this week if you like, but Ross hasn't always trusted Liam Henry, but certainly it was an eye-catching score. Jed Busslinger is a little more expensive, but 2 good scores for the Dogs. James O'Donnell probably a couple of weeks away, and that's the risk with Busslinger, is that his job security over the years hasn't been great. And then Connor McKenna is really cheap. Is he a best 23 player at Brisbane? Not sure, but he goes up in price this week. Artie Jones has just ticked over the bubble, but I think he's going to be a best 23 player at the Dogs. So I reckon if you could find a way to get him in, I think it's a good move. And then Tom Burton, we're still not 100% sure. Tiger's got a win. He hasn't been overly influential his first couple of games, but they have so many injuries that he might just have a spot for the next few weeks. They don't have many coming back before the bye, just Tim Taranto likely this week. So, Rage trades, Jai Caldwell's at the top of our list of guys we want to get rid of. Grill, I think, a poor score against the Eagles, which was really disappointing in the game. We thought he might get a bit of extra responsibility. He's going to be high on our list as well. And then Jax, Sarong, Jagger Smith, these guys are all ready to be picked off and turned into cash. So enjoy tinkering with your teams early in the week. We'll be back shortly with more news on GOAT Fantasy. And of course, keep checking back to Instagram, to Twitter. There's heaps of good stuff there. And don't forget, last week we did a special buy round podcast. If you missed that, you want to go back and have a listen. It's never too early to start planning for the buys. Appreciate your time as always. Catch you soon on GOAT Fantasy.